Afternoon, intuitives. So, as a demisexual, and those of you that are watching it most likely are or trying to date one, there can be some problems that arise when forming a connection with somebody or forming a connection with somebody and problems arriving, you know, in the courting process or in the actual relationship process of the non-demisexual person in the duo hooking up with somebody else and saying things like, it just happened, or we just fell into bed, or yada, 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 or drunk, or this and that. Because to a demisexual, we don't get it. See, we don't get it. Demisexuals need that emotional response or emotional connection to, to their potential partner. Yeah, I got a background today. I tried. But we need that emotional connection to our partner in order to want to engage in sexual activity. And for most demisexuals, myself included, I can only have that with one woman at a time. So as a demisexual, if I am interested in a woman and I develop an emotional connection with her and I want to date her and I want to be with her physically, then I'm focused on her, and I'm pretty oblivious to what's going on around me, people flirting with me, although being an INFJ, I that most of the time anyway. But also, you know, opportunities for easy action, so to say, where, other women like literally throw themselves at me. If I'm interested in a specific woman, nah, nope, push you away. So the basis of me going into that is why demisexuals should date each other. Well, because it's going to avoid a lot of drama. You know, being a demisexual is hard. And a lot of people understand that. Most people wrongfully equate it to being prude, and I've said it in other videos, but I will say it again. Being demisexual has nothing to do with what you'll do. It's about the who with, and we're picky about the who with. But, when we do have that connection, it's kind of an all or nothing thing, at least with INFJs, because pretty much everything is. So, get my point? I don't want this to be demonetized. I'm already fighting YouTube on 2 videos that I've made already. But to save, aggravation, drama, misunderstanding, demisexuals should seek each other out in the dating market. Now, why is that? Well, obviously, we're both demisexuals and we have, the same mindset, because pretty much every demisexual out there can tell a story about how they were dating somebody who is, not demisexual and quite, spontaneous, and how eventually infidelity arose, but it was a one-time thing and we're supposed to understand because it didn't mean anything. Yeah, no, no. Demisexual's not going to understand, because to us, there is no going to bed with somebody and not having it mean something, because it takes us time to build that emotional connection. And we are usually pretty picky about who we build that emotional connection with. And as I said, when we have it, we only have it with that one person at that time. That made sense. So, this is something that all demisexuals go through at least once. They fall for somebody and things seem good, but then, the other person has that wild, crazy night, and all of a sudden they cheated on us. And, well, if you're an INFJ like me, you'll door slam them, because now I can't trust you, and, trust is gone and the connection's gone. It's all gone. It's like, you're nothing to me. Be gone, But, it's like, be gone or I'll feed you to the dragon. He's on my arm. He didn't do much, but he talks. So, that kind of thing. It'll cut down on a lot of that aggravation, because, two demisexuals in a relationship together obviously want something real. Demisexuals don't do, for the most part, the whole like casually dating thing. It's kind of an all or nothing kind of thing. Either it's like, oh, we have a connection and we could have like a real relationship, or it's like, yeah, I'm alone. There's nobody out there for me. I'll find one once every 2 years, maybe, kind of thing. So, but that is actually in a way better for us, because a lot of times demisexuals are like, well, it's better to go without than to be used, because each time a demisexual gets used and betrayed, it's harder to trust someone, to have that connection. That's why a lot of like INFJs and ENFJs, as I've stated in other videos, just give up on love because, well, people take advantage of our empathy, use us as flings, and then cast us aside, and you know, are like, well, I'm done with you, on to the next conquest, and write my little notch here, you know. So by demisexuals dating each other, we can potentially avoid a lot of that drama, because being with somebody, you know, that's also demisexual not only means avoiding the potential problems with those that are more spontaneous, but also it someone on the same wavelength that understands you. I mean, you know, the last woman I got involved with wasn't a demisexual by any means, but she was very interested that I was because, quote, she said she was tired of guys who just wanted one thing, and being demisexual, by definition, that's not true for me. But, you know, she, yeah, she wasn't honest with me. So, that's that. But two demisexuals are most likely going to be in a place where they can open up to each other about being demisexual, because be honest, most demisexual men aren't going to admit it, because you get made fun of for it, as I have been. And you know, a lot of demisexual women in today's environment aren't going to admit it, because you know, it's the hookup culture, which is really bad for us in a lot of ways, because you know, we can't partake in that. It's just not how our brain's wired. However, when demisexuals seek each other out, it can be magical, because again, not only both demisexuals on the same wavelength have the same idea about what sex in a relationship is, but given that the majority of people, you know, in today's culture are not seeking that, it allows us to, you know, potentially weed out the fakers. And not many people out there pretending to be demisexual. There's fake INFJs out there, but fake demisexuals, you know, think about it. What guy's gonna fake being a demisexual? What's in it for him? Yeah, you're more or less excusing yourself from the thing that most guys lie to get most of the time anyway, and it's pretty hard to fake too, because if you're trying to fake being a demisexual, and if a, you know, woman is curious, is this guy the real deal? He seems interested in me. He claims he's a demisexual. Well, I'll have my hot friend flirt with him and see what happens. That's a simple way to do it. If he's all over the friend after just a couple of minutes of flirting, he's not a demisexual. If he's, you know, kind of pushing her away and focusing on you, like, what's going on here? I'm uncomfortable, you know. I want one-on-one time with you. What's this girl doing? Then yeah, he's most likely legit. But it all depends on how hot the hot friend is. Not for the legit demisexual, but for how quick the fake will crack, kind of thing. I've only seen it go down once, but then again, that person was essentially trying to emulate me. Yeah, who wants to be me? But you know, for us to find each other, two demisexuals can cut down on a lot of heartache, you know, a lot of emotional trauma that comes from us, quote, trying to fit in, because, you know, demisexuals, at least in most personality types, I know INFJs and ENFJs, you know, we're not all about like fling with this one, fling with that one. It's like, no, we've been looking for our soulmate since we were 12, and we get kicked around and lied to and used, and, you know, then INFJs become hermits. And yeah, ENFJs just give up. Sad ENFJs are so depressing because they're so sweet and happy and they cheer me up. But when an ENFJ's down, it's like the most depressing thing, because it's like, oh, who could be mean to you? But that's just me. I have a soft spot for ENFJ women, for those of you that are new to the channel. I always have, long before I knew what that meant, but they are definitely the type I go after the most. So, demisexuals, yeah. My advice is be open about who you are and what you're looking for, and seek out people that are also like you. But I will say this, be wary of those that are not like you, that claim they want somebody like you, because they may not be telling the truth. I learned that lesson firsthand. You know, just because somebody's sick of the games and wants someone who wants something real, and, you know, wants someone who wants something more than just bedroom fun doesn't mean that as soon as they wear you down and you develop feelings for them, they're not going to kick you to the curb like some conquest, because it's like, ooh, I bagged a demisexual. That's not easy to do. I had to put in a month's worth of work to do it, kind of thing. So be wary of that, you know. Go for the people that are not only demisexual and your type, of course, but that have integrity. Again, it'll cut down potentially on a lot of the heartache and problems demisexuals face in today's dating world, because we are by far the minority. You know, yes, it is depressing to think about. You know, the one upside, if you are a heterosexual demisexual male, there are more heterosexual demisexual females than males. So, you know, there is that. Sorry about that, females. Yeah, there's more of you than there are of us, because most of the personality types that skew like heavily towards being demisexual, like INFJ and ENFJ, all intuitive types are more, you know, there's more females than men. Now, how big those percentages are debatable, but there's certainly more female than men. So that gives me a little hope. It's like, ooh, you know, demisexual INFJ male witch, looks Italian American, never married, with no kids, in his 30s. It's like, I don't know, girl, you're gonna have to settle. I think I have that market cornered. You know, I could, especially when you have the male witch thing, but and the no baggage thing. So hopefully this gives, you know, a little lighthearted advice for demisexuals that are struggling in today's dating world before you want to give up. You know, especially if you're just recently learning you are a demisexual. No, you are not alone. There are others like you. So, you know, seek out like-minded people. That's probably your best bet. At the very least, they'll get it. You know, yeah, you know, because a lot of people don't. Because, you know, when I, you know, when I tell you know, a girl I start dating, when she asks, you know, my number of partners, and it's, you know, a single digit, I'll be, you know, not for much, who knows, but yeah, it's a single digit and I'm 35 and never been married. They kind of look at me funny. Now, granted, you know, some of those relationships lasted years, whereas, you know, the other person, their longest might have been 6 months, or used to stopwatch. So yeah, you know, people that are like-minded like us at least get it and are most likely looking for the same thing, and that'll also help develop that connection sooner. So I hope this was helpful, or at least entertaining at parts. Remember, demisexuals, trust your intuition. If somebody is pretending to be something they're not, and your intuition is telling you liar, and remember, you know, being demisexual means being true to who you are, which is your integrity, and you should never give up your integrity just to fit in, because who gets to decide what's in? I don't care about very many people's opinions, so just because somebody says they're important and popular doesn't mean I care. Ooh, a little regression to my teen years, but my point's still valid.